Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Rich, aka Major Monkey, and we're back with another mouse review video today. We're going to be rocking the EWEADN S9 Plus Ultra. Massive shout out to them for sending out this mouse for review. And yeah, if you guys are not familiar, the S9 series of their mice is basically a competitor in terms of its shape, near identical to the Razer Viper V3 Pro, a very, very popular mouse, very beloved, but kind of expensive. And so did EWEADN successfully make a mouse that is cheaper but still performs and feels like a Viper V3 Pro that everyone loves? If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. Hope you guys enjoy the video and maybe sub to the channel. Yeah, let's get straight into the review. Alrighty guys, price. What are we looking at for price? That's going to be one of the biggest factors when it comes to deciding, do you want to pick up a Viper V3 Pro or this, knockoff competitor of the shape that everyone loves? Now, there are two versions for this EWEADN S9 Plus mouse. We're going to be, talking about how they differ from one another, but just in terms of pricing at the moment, the Pro retails for $80, but at the time this recording is on sale for $55, and the Ultra retails for $90, but currently is on sale for $65. Now, if we compare that to the Viper V3 Pro, that mouse is $160. So, that's a massive discount for this mouse. The question now becomes, does this mouse perform like a $160 mouse, or does it perform more true to its price? And we'll get into that later on in the final part of the video. But now the difference between these two. What differs between the Pro and the Ultra version if you choose to pick up this mouse? Now, there's really two things that kind of differ from one another, and that's about it. Now, the Pro is rocking a 3395 sensor, where the Ultra is going to be rocking a 3950. Then for the main switches, you're rocking a mechanical Kale White sword switches for the Pro, and the Ultra is rocking Omron switches. So when it comes to the sensors, if I can give my honest opinion, do I think, in my experience, I could never tell you the difference between the 3395 and the 3950. Have I been maybe very lucky? Possibly, but at least in my experience, I've never had a problem with either of these sensors, nor could I tell the difference between the sensors. So if you're someone that maybe just really cares about, if they have a 3950 option, why wouldn't I pick that? It's the more newer, updated sensor. I'm going to go with that. That's totally fair. Maybe if you're someone that cares more about mechanical switches over Omron, or you prefer Omron over mechanicals, it's really, really just up to your preference of what you would rather have. They're rated to be 56 grams, give or take 3 grams. In my personal unit of the Ultra Plus, this one came out to be about 61 grams, where the Razer was in the lower 50s. Now, in actual use, can you feel that 10 gram difference? Roughly 10 gram difference? Yeah, like a little bit. It's not, to me, that difference isn't like astronomical, but the Viper V3 Pro does feel a little bit lighter than the EWEADN S9 Plus, but nothing drastic. For me personally, 60 grams, that kind of range is not, this doesn't feel like a heavy weight, you know what I mean? It's still very lightweight. In actual use, I had no problem with the weight whatsoever, but the Viper V3 Pro does feel a little bit lighter than the EWEADN S9 Plus. Both offer 8K, right? V3 Pro offers 8K, so does the EWEADN S9 Plus. It offers 8K. You don't need to buy a separate dongle, an increased charge on the overall package to access 8K. It's included right off the bat with the purchase of the mouse itself. And so big W for EWEADN for including that. The fact that it's 8K capable and it includes the dongle right away, I think is a huge W. In terms of battery life, they do rate it to be 80 plus hours of battery life. Now, of course, does that mean 80 plus hours with the 8K polling rate? Of course not. 8K polling rate is going to absolutely just chew your battery out, as it does with any mouse. I've been playing with it for the 4K and the 8K options, and in actual use, it feels very much like every other mouse that I've used, where, 8K, you get maybe a couple days of use, and then you're going to have to probably charge it up. But as you go down in that polling rate down to 1000, your battery life will significantly get extended. And so that's just up to preference. There are people that believe that 8K really just provides nothing of a difference. So you have the options of going down to a lower polling rate, save that battery life. But if you're maybe someone that really cares about 8K polling, They have that included, and the battery feels fine. It doesn't feel less than other mice that I've used, and it doesn't feel better, you know, than other mice that I've used. It feels very normal of a battery life kind of range. But yeah, let's get now into the shape comparison with the Viper V3 Pro. Typically with this part, I'll kind of compare it to other mice, but really at the end of the day, they're trying to make a Viper V3 Pro clone for cheaper. And so this is going to be the main mouse that we're going to compare it with. And yeah, let's get straight over to that. Alright guys, I'll blow this up for you guys in the video so you can see it better. Really, this part's going to be very, very quick because at the end of the day, it is a damn near identical copy of the Viper V3 Pro. We're looking at minor differences. We're looking at a millimeter difference in the width and the height, being EWEADN being slightly taller and slightly wider. In actual use, can you feel that difference in the width? For me personally, not really. I mean, again, it's just 1 millimeter of a difference. So telling myself that and seeing that in the chart and then actually using it, maybe I can slightly feel that difference. I definitely feel it a little bit more in the height. I can feel that 1 millimeter of a difference, but again, it's not drastic to where this doesn't feel like the Viper V3 Pro. When I first unboxed it and started using it, my first thought wasn't, this is like slightly close to it, but you know, I can definitely feel a 1 millimeter difference. No, I couldn't tell that at all. As soon as I used it, it felt like, wow, this feels just like my Viper V3 Pro. And so I think they really nailed it in terms of the shape. Is it 1-to-1 identical? No. Is it like 99.5% like the Viper V3 Pro? Yeah. And so if you're someone that really loved the shape of the Viper V3 Pro, I think you'll really enjoy something like the EWEADN S9 Plus. Very, very similar, a little bit taller and a little bit thicker in terms of the width, but nothing drastic in any sort of way. Now let's get into the final part of the video, which will just be my thoughts and my opinions of the mouse during my time of using it. All right, so first off, I just kind of want to get this out of the way because, so EWEADN offers a web-based version for their software, and I was super excited to be using it. And during testing in this time period of like a couple weeks of using it, the web-based version was working. Like it was, that's how I messed with the mouse. But I kid you not, at the time of this recording, I can't access it. If I go to open it, it just opens nothing. Like there's, it just, and I went to the website. Maybe, you know, maybe my bookmark saved version is corrupt and just isn't working. So I went back to the website to try and do it, and it just kept going to that white page. And so I don't know what's currently going on with the web-based version. I did download the actual software itself, and here it is for you guys. It offers basically like everything you would expect when it comes to these type of softwares. There's nothing that really stands out with the mouse. It offers stuff like your debounce time, you know, DPI settings, the polling rate options. You know, you got your macro stuff, the configurations of, you know, lift off distance, double click speed, sleep timers. They do offer these 4 different sensor modes. And when you go here to the question mark, it does explain that the office mode is used in silent mode with a slower response to save power and extend the usage. The gaming enthusiast mode, the sensor and the processor operate at the maximum responsiveness for later responses, but increases power consumption. Pretty obviously, office is like the power saver. Gaming is your more actual gaming mode that you're going to want to use. They do now offer, though, a high and a berserk version. The question mark doesn't really specify what those do, but I'm assuming berserk is probably the best version that you could use for gaming, so that's what I've had it at. But yeah, again, I've been using the web-based version of this, but now I can't show it to you. So at least at the time of this recording, I'd recommend do the software, like the actual application. I will let them know that that's not working at the moment, so you know, it could be just simply a bug or an issue with the actual page itself, and they'll get that working, and then, you know, you can go back to using the browser version. I didn't have any issues with the browser version, again, during my whole time, so don't know what's going on. But yeah, let's get to the mouse. Did I think EWEADN has made a Viper V3 Pro minus the high price tag? In my opinion, I think they did a great job with it, and I would 100% recommend the EWEADN S9 Plus if you are somebody that's never picked up a Viper V3 Pro and really want to try it, but maybe the price tag is just way too much. If you can afford this and you just want to pick up a Viper V3 Pro, you can't go wrong with it. It's, again, everyone loves the Viper V3 Pro, and so you can't go wrong with that mouse. But if you are someone that is looking to maybe save some money, I think for the price currently, again, also just retail, I think it's a great value of a mouse. With it being on sale right now, I think it's a no question that you should just pick it up just to try it. I mean, it's just really, really solid. Again, I've been using it now for a couple weeks, so can I tell you long term, does it compete with the Viper V3 Pro? Will this hold up like the Viper V3 Pro has? I can't tell you that because this isn't a long-term review. You know, I haven't used it for 6 months, you know. But in this initial testing, I have had no indicators that the mouse itself would start to kind of start lacking the quality like the Viper V3 Pro. I've never once had an issue with any of the buttons, with the sensor maybe having a hiccup, the battery, you know, having a hiccup at all. Everything is performed very well, and so I think with the price, I think it's a no-brainer. Is this weird kind of web browser thing kind of a negative? Yeah, I wish it was just kind of working like it has been so I could just show it to you. But that's software though. Like that's just, you know, that's back-end stuff. In terms of just the mouse itself, I think it has performed very well. And in my personal opinion, if I never owned the Viper V3 Pro and I only had this, I'd be so happy with it. Now, me having the two, which one would I lean more towards? I would still pick the EWEADN. Like, it's cheaper and it feels good. I have no reason to go to this. Now, if I just want to use Viper to use the Razer mouse, then yeah, sure, I'll go to the Viper V3 Pro. But realistically, I don't have a need to go to that unless I really want a little bit lighter of a mouse, you know. If I want to save those 10-ish grams, then I'll go to the Viper V3 Pro. But yeah, really haven't been enjoying my time with this mouse. I've been playing my typical titles that I've always used. You know, I have my more slower tactical-based shooters like Valorant and CSGO. Then I have my more dynamic, faster pace like the Finals, you know, Overwatch, Marvel Rivals. And in all titles, this mouse performed really well. Just like the Viper V3 Pro is so popular and beloved in multiple titles. You know, you see people playing this so much, like it, you know, it's Razer's version of the G Pro. You know, it's a very safe shape. It's going to work for anyone that uses it. It doesn't require you to have a specific type of grip on a mouse. And I feel that same way with the EWEADN. It's, again, 1 millimeter taller, 1 millimeter thicker. It really doesn't feel that different. It really feels like the Viper V3 Pro. And I've had a great time using it, and I would absolutely recommend the mouse, especially right now with the sale. And so thank you, EWEADN, for sending this mouse over to me to review. And thank you guys so much for watching the video. I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you later.